Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of NHL Daily Talk, and we're back with another YouTube video. And sorry for no YouTube video tomorrow, as Jakob and I were both busy. But Jakob, you wanna say what's up to everyone?
I like the fact Kyle already made a mistake on the first intro, and he said that we're gonna do a video tomorrow when we were supposed to do a video yesterday. So yeah, Kyle, there is gonna be a YouTube video tomorrow. We promise you guys. There wasn't one yesterday because me and Kyle, unfortunately, we had some stuff to do, and Kyle was out with a good buddy of his who's in town for a couple of days and wanted to hang out with him. So yeah, welcome everybody. Glad to have you guys with us, and we'll go ahead and get started with the first news, I guess, that we have related to the Edmonton Oilers.
All right. Well, I'll let you elaborate on that because I have only one topic for the day, so I'll let you go over that, Jakob.
All right, so the only news that I have is that Matt Savoie got loaned down the Bakersfield Condors from the Edmonton Oilers, and he is required to play at least one game for them before being able to get called up. And me and Kyle thought it was a little weird slash pointless, but we think it's because we want him to get some games during the Olympics so that he doesn't lose, the touch of the ice, and then when he comes back, he has to readapt. And yeah, so good to see that he's getting some playing time over in Bakersfield and mentally and physically preparing himself to come back to Edmonton and hopefully deliver us some goals and some wins.
Absolutely. Of course, we want the goals and wins, and yeah, no, I hope that he has a very good game. Bakersfield, go score us a hat trick, Maddie. We would love to see it.
That is true. That is true.
But anywho, I'll move on to the only other topic that we have for the day, which I wanted to talk about this briefly because I don't know if you saw Pierre Edward Belmar's comments, I guess like post Olympics, but the French are obviously eliminated now because they got eliminated yesterday to the Germans. Spoiler alert, I know. I'm not sorry because that was gonna come out anyways.
It's literally over there, right on the screen, right next to us. So,
So yeah, the people can see it, but yeah, so the French are out, and Pierre-Edouard Bellemare was asked if he would be playing for the French, possibly going into 2030's Olympics, and he decided that he thinks his body could do it, but he basically said that he owes it to his family not to, and I feel like that's like a quiet statement of like a retirement, and I think that he's retiring at the end of the season, but ultimately we will see, and yeah, if he is retiring, best of luck to him in his future endeavors.
I did see that, and I do think there is a sign of retirement because there's no way that someone would not want to play in an Olympics because of his family. So it's definitely a question of retirement. Plus, he is a little old on the older side, so
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not surprised if
he's 40 now, by the way, Jakob. So,
but yeah, I'm not surprised. He'll be 44 by next Olympics. So
hmm
yeah.
so yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna be playing in the next Olympics, but yeah, hopefully, he can go enjoy the rest of his life. And hockey's a big part of it, but you can only go so long, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Hey, are you ready to get into the scores, Jakob?
We do, and before we start, a lot of people are noticing that the Germans played twice. No, they did not. They played today and they played yesterday. But we will recap the game for today on tomorrow's episode. We're just gonna recap
Yeah,
yesterday's game since we were gonna do it yesterday, but unfortunately we missed it. So I'll actually do the honors of taking the first game today.
yeah. Just pretend that you guys don't see this. I'm covering it so you guys can't fully see it, even though you totally can see it right through the blue. But yes, I will go over the first game. And our first game on the schedule from yesterday is Germany versus France. And this one sees France lose 5-1 to the Germans. And fortunately for the French, like I said, their tournament is over, but they only got outshot 36-31. So, relatively speaking, they kept the shots close and looks like it was actually a pretty decent game. But for the Germans, they opened the scoring like shortly after on the power play after Nicholas Ritz took a penalty, and it's our boy Jacob, our boy Leon
Jacob,
Draisaitl.
Jacob, who is
I
Jacob?
didn't say Jacob, I said Jacob. I did say Jacob.
Bro, I swear I'm hearing things over there, bro.
Bro, this is what happens when you get like 4 hours of sleep.
That is true, though.
So, but anywho, yes, it was Leon Draisaitl, and this one was assisted by Josh Szymanski, our other boy, and Tim Stutzle. And unfortunately, I did not watch this game. I do have a recap for the for all the goals for the Denmark Czechia game, and you have one game too, Jakob, don't you?
Yes, yes, I do. I have it for the Italy Swiss game.
So yeah, but we'll just go over the goals for this one. But then at about the halfway point of the period, just past it, Frederick Tiefels, Dreisaitl's childhood friend, puts the Germans up 2-0, and then Florian Douay for the French takes a penalty, but it doesn't cost them. But then before the period ends, JJ Peterka puts the French up, or whoa, the Germans up 3-0, and this one was assisted by Tim Stutzle. And then going into the second period, the only goal that we see in this period was by the guy that I just spoke about in Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. So good for him, and I'm happy to see that in his likely last Olympic Games that he scored in the last game. And like I said, best of luck to him. But this was assisted by Jordan Perret. And then going into the third period, Hugo Gallet takes a penalty for France, which ultimately 23 seconds in the power play they allow a goal. And this one comes from Josh Szymanski, and this was assisted by Leon Draisaitl and Maurice Seider. And then Mark McAllis for the Germans takes a 2-minute minor for delaying the game, so I guess the puck went up and over the glass. And then JJ Peterka takes another penalty for tripping a couple minutes later, but ultimately no goals. And then the French pull their goaltender in Antoine Keller, and after the empty net was available for over 2 minutes, Nico Sturm finally buried it, and this one was assisted by Leon Draisaitl and Tobias Rieder. And then that is your game. And we'll go over to the statistics, but once again, your score was 5-1 in favor of the Germans. And then I will pull it back up. Here we go. So your stats, obviously Draisaitl with a goal and 2 assists, and then I'll just scroll down real slow. But yeah, Philipp Grubauer in this game for the Germans ended up allowing 1 goal on 31 shots and had himself a .968 save percentage, which definitely good enough to win you a hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving over to the French side, which I'll pull that up. Scroll down real slow for y'all. And then both goaltenders actually made an appearance in this one, which I did not see that both goaltenders had made an appearance. But anyways, Antoine Keller ends up allowing 1 goal on 22 shots and has himself a .954 save percentage, or 956 actually. And then Julian Junka had a .769 save percentage because he allowed. My bad, my bad, guys.
Bro, we're
Three.
both yawning on this show. For some reason, it's so early in the morning that both of us are yawning on this show.
But yeah, Julian Junka allowed 3 goals on 13 shots, and yeah, I will transition over to Iacob in a sec here, but I will pull up the exact play-by-play because I want to figure out at what point did the French put in Julian Junka
Right there.
Antoine
Right there.
Keller.
Right there. Go up. Go up. It was in
Uh,
the right there.
yes. Okay, so it's like the start of the second is when they pulled him. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Antoine Keller got put into the period at the beginning of the second period. But anyways, Jakob, that's the end of my recap. And unless you have something else to add, we will move on to your game.
Yeah, as I said, we will recap the Germans' other game that you guys saw tomorrow on tomorrow's episode. But we are gonna move on to the Swiss and the Italians. Oh, and Kyle did make a pick on the Alexander Texier point, which unfortunately he did not. It was a
Oh
rough day
yeah.
for picks. It was a rough day for picks, I'm telling you, and you guys will find out why. But the Swiss beat the Italians 3-0, and we'll go over the goal scores, which I did actually watch the game and recap it. So for Italy, it was Damien Clara, and for Switzerland, it was Leonardo Giannoni. And a minute into the period, Meyer shoots the puck. Meyer was like a helping hand today. He was like, I'm pretty sure he was involved with every single goal, at least something with every single goal, except the second goal. But Meyer shot the puck and then towards the net, and Nico Hischier like redirects it to Khrushchev, who Khrushchev just taps it in, scores. I think how many times have we said that he just taps it in into an empty net is kind of an understatement, because we've said that like too many, like almost a lot of the goals were scored like that. And
Mhm.
then Thomas Larkin takes a penalty, and then 24 seconds in, uh The Swiss win the faceoff. The right defender passes it across to Yossi, and Yossi takes a quick step in. Andre Ghetto takes passes it to Yossi. Yossi gets the puck, walks in just a tad bit before he gets pressured, and rips a shot glove side that beats Damian Clara for a beautiful top corner goal. And we move on to where JJ Moser takes a penalty, but obviously nothing happens. Then, a few penalties that were taking by both teams, but obviously nothing happened. Then we go into the third period where Mats Fricklin takes a penalty, 2-minute penalty for roughing, and it will cost the Italians because 6 seconds into the penalty, Meyer passes it down off the faceoff. Myers gets the puck, passes it down low to Riyad, and then Riyad finds Hischer at the top, like the goals right here, the creases right here, and the top of the net's like right here, and he just rips it to the roof of the net and beats Damian Clara yet again to make it 3-0, and that would be all the goals. We would see a few penalties, and then obviously, we would see a penalty for Thomas Larkin for boarding, but that wouldn't cost anything for the Italians. As we can see, if Kyle can scroll up all the way to the score real quick, just for a sec, we can see the shots on totals was 51-20 in favor of the Italians, in favor of the Swiss. The Italians have been getting outshot by 50, 60. Their highest was 62 by the finish. So then we will move on to the statistics real quick so we can recap the goaltender performances real quick. And we will see on the Swiss side, if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, obviously Leonard Giannoni had himself a 20 save shutout last night. Yesterday he played fantastic. And if we move on to the Italians, and we scroll all the way down, we can see that Damian Clara had himself a pretty good night, even though his team lost. He put up a good night, and I think he was one of the goalies of this tournament. He allowed 3 goals on 51 shots and had himself a 941 save percentage. And yes, I did make a pick on this one. I did say that Matthew Bradley was going to get a point, which unfortunately, due to the outcome of the game and how it was 3-0, there was no point by Matthew Bradley, or matter of fact, no point by the Italians whatsoever. So yeah, good play by the Swiss, and I'm looking forward to watching them play in the quarterfinals today.
Yeah, the Swiss definitely dominated this one, and yeah, I do think like because they play Finland, I believe today, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it will be a closer game than some people may think, but yeah, good win by the Swiss, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest, the Italians did not have a chance, but they've had some tough matches this tournament, and they have shown that they're maybe a better country in hockey than we thought. But yeah, thanks for showing up, Italy, and see you later. And yeah, anyways, Jakob, unless you have something else to add, I'll move on.
I actually did not.
All right, so then I will move on to our next game, which this will see the Czechs and Denmark. And in this one, Czechia comes out by a slim margin, and they win this one 3-2. And your final shots were 31-26 for Czechia. And by the way, at one point the shots were like 31-17. So the Danes in the last like 10 minutes or last 5 minutes really put the pressure on and almost ended up getting one, but unfortunately it did not matter. So your goaltenders for this one were Frederick Andersen in net for Denmark and Lukas Dostal in net for Czechia. And in the first period, we didn't see a lot. Jan Ruda, Czech defenseman, takes a 2-minute minor for holding the stick, and obviously the Danes don't score. Then Oliver Lauridsen ends up taking a penalty for tripping. Once again, doesn't cost them. And then going into the second, Lars Eller takes a penalty for high sticking, which ultimately this was the first costly penalty of the game. And he ends up getting scored on by, of course, well, I like how I say he gets scored on, but actually it was Martin Necas who scored on Frederick Andersen. And this was assisted by Philip Ronick and Roman Chervenka. And I guess Philip Ronick had it at the point because they were cycling the puck near the point on the power play. And Martin Necas from the left circle just one tees it right past Frederick Andersen. And it was a beautiful goal. And ultimately that put the Czechs up 1-0. And then for the Danes, not too long after, this is like less than 4 minutes after the Czechia opened the scoring, Alexander True scores and he ties the game. And it was a beautiful pass by Joachim Blichfeld, which the Danes, him and Blichfeld were going back and forth with the puck quite a bit, and they went all the way down to the crease where just in beside the goaltender, Joachim Blichfeld passes it straight out to the front to Alexander True, where he just slides it into a wide open cage. And like Iacob said, we've been saying that a lot this tournament. And then literally just over a minute later, the Czechs make it 2-1, and unfortunately, this is where the game kind of slips away from the Danes. And yeah, so it's David Kampf assisted by Jan Ruda and Martin Necas. And Jan Ruda made a really nice pass from the right side. And David Kampf, sitting right in the crease, ends up putting it in for Czechia. And I know the announcers made a comment about the fact that he plays a way bigger role on the international stage than he does with his current team, Vancouver. And it's true, he does. He's playing 2C, and we'll see. But yeah, great for him to get, I believe that was his first of the tournament. But then we move on to the next goal, which this one was also scored by Czechia, and this was Roman Chervenka, the 40-year-old veteran and captain for Team Czechia. And he scored this one literally a minute after the goal. So we've seen 3 goals in a matter of just over 2 minutes. And yeah, it was pretty chaotic at this point in the game. But yeah, this was assisted by David Pasternak. And Roman Chervenka, once he got the puck and started wheeling up the ice, he kind of took matters into his own hands. He ultimately ends up skating up the left side, and he ends up, beating his guy. And as a 40-year-old, that's very impressive to have that kind of foot speed. But he beats his guy, then he's wide open on that left side, and he absolutely wires it. And he puts a perfect shot that was just out of reach of Frederick Anderson's glove, and he puts the Czechs up 3-1. And ultimately, this would stand as your game winner. But 4 minutes later or so, Tomas Hertl takes a penalty for tripping, and right near the end of the power play, unfortunately for him, this would cost his team, as Nick Olesen, who, by the way, this was his 4th of the tournament, and for the Denmark, he has had an excellent performance, as I'm sure you can agree, Jakob.
That's what I was gonna mention it when you were done. That we got to give our praises to Nick Olsen. He has been having a fantastic tournament with the Danes, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to watching him play beyond the Olympics.
Yeah, no, I would definitely be keeping tabs on his play, because he's shown me that he's a way better player than I honestly thought he was, and I don't know, maybe we'll pull up his. Well, actually, Jakob, you want to pull up his stats in his other league right now while I'm doing
Yeah,
this?
I got
But
you.
and then you can just announce them after while we're going over the goalie stats. But yeah,
Okay.
this one was assisted by Oscar Fischker Moldgard and Joachim Blichfeld again, and yeah, Oscar Fischker Moldgard got the puck to him on the right wing, and on the power play, he just made a beautiful move and ultimately beat the guys. He dangled around everyone and just straight up roofed it. And this guy's a heck of a player, and I'm surprised. He could definitely play in the NHL if he wanted. He is definitely at that skill level. But yeah, moving into the third period, Radko Gudas takes a penalty for Czechia, but unfortunately, the Danes can't get one. Same with Tomas Hertl. He takes his second penalty for elbowing, but the Danes don't get it. And then they pull Frederick Anderson with just under 2 minutes on the clock, and they really they put everything on net. And there was one puck that deflected off of a Czech defender onto Dostal, and oh, when I tell you it was close to going in, it was really close. And yeah, no, and then obviously the Danes couldn't get one, but man, I'm not in that last minute. I was actually sitting at the edge of my seat because of how entertaining it was. And yeah,
Wow.
good win for the Czechs and Lucas Dostal, and the final score was 3-1, or 3-2. Sorry. But yeah, I'll move on to the statistics real quick, and then when I'm on the Danes, because this will be the Czechs first. But for Czechia, we see a goal and an assist from Martin Necas. Goal and an assist again from Roman Chervenka, who had himself a night to say the least. And then Lucas Dostal with 2 goals allowed on 26 shots, and he had a 923 save percentage. And then moving over to the Denmark side of things. Oops, I had the camera on Jakob. Sorry, Jakob.
You're good.
Everyone's just gonna get a beautiful shot of your beautiful face.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick Olesen and of course Alexander True, your 2 goal scorers, and we see Frederick Anderson with 3 goals allowed on 31 shots ends up having a 903 save percentage, and albeit not terrible, not good enough. And would you like to go over Nick Olesen's stats real quick?
Yeah, so in the Olympics currently he has 5 points in 4 games played. He has 4 goals and 1 assist, and he's actually not doing bad in his in the Czech league. He's played for Motor Szeszke Budejovic in Czechia. In
Mm,
46 games played, he has 13 goals and 29 assists for 42 points.
wow. So yeah, I'm telling you, this guy could play in the NHL if he really wanted to.
Yeah, he does have he we see that he can compete with the big guys. So,
Hmm. But
yeah, with
obviously,
that,
oh sorry,
oh,
Yak,
you're
I was
good.
just
No,
gonna,
no, no. You were
but
gonna
yeah,
say something.
no, definitely like some guys they just prefer like to be playing in a league where it's like they can be one of the star players or a top line player and they want to play a bigger role rather than playing in the NHL. And yeah, good for him. And yeah, unfortunately, like I know you said currently Yaka, but his stats will stand at that for the Olympics because Denmark is out.
Yeah, unfortunately. But moving on to the last game, which saw the Swedish played Latvians. And this game saw Sweden win 5-1, even though the shot total was 28-21. And we'll go over the goal scores. Unfortunately, I did not recap this game, so I will just say based on the what it says on the app. But the goalies for Sweden was Markstrom, and for Latvia was Merzlinkins. But 10 minutes into the game, Adrian Kempe scores to make it 1-0 for the Swedes on an assist from Joel Eriksson Ek and William Nylander. And a 39 seconds after that, excuse me, Sweden gets a second one off of Gabriel Landeskog goal, which was scored by Luke, which was assisted by Lucas Raymond and Mika Zibanejad. And we see a penalty that was taken by Gustav Forsling for delaying the game, which he probably shot the puck over the glass. And then we see a 2-minute penalty for Latvia for an interference, but obviously it didn't cost much. Then we move on to the second period, and this is where the goal Philip Forsberg would score to make it 3-0 for Sweden on an assist from Eric Carlson and Philip Broberg, former Edmonton and current St. Louis Blues. Then Latvia would get one back, scored by Edwards Traumax, assisted by Albert Smits and Theodore Blugers. Then we would see a cross-checking penalty 6 minutes after the goal by Victor Hedman, but it would result in nothing. Then we go to the third period, and this is where the Swedes would pot their last, I believe, yeah, their last 2 goals. Mika Zibanejad would be the would score to make it 4-1 for Sweden on an assist by yet again Lucas Raymond and Gabriel Landeskog. And a few penalties were taking, but right as the penalty expires, Sweden scores their last goal. William Nylander scores, assisted by yet again Lucas Raymond and Rasmus Dahlin, and then that would be the end of the game. So good performance by the Swedes. It's good to see that they stepped it up after having a very rough start to the Olympics. We will go over the statistics real quick for both teams. And I believe the first one is for the Swedes, which if Kyle can pull it up real quick while all right, so we see Lucas Raymond have 3 assists. We see Nylander have 2 goals, and we move on to the goalie performances, which saw Jacob Markstrom allow 1 goal on 21 shots and have a 952 save percentage, with Jesper Wallstedt backing him up. And for the Latvians on the other side, which unfortunately their tournament is done, you can see a few, key players that scored, got his points. But at the end of the day, Elvis Merzlinkins allows 5 goals on 28 shots and has himself an 821 save percentage. So not the best performance, but at the end of the day, when your team doesn't help you, it's kind of hard to get some saves. And yeah, we'll see the Swedes play today. I believe they play the US today later on. So we will watch that game and we will recap that for you guys tomorrow.
Absolutely. And actually, one thing I want to say is I did see a little bit of controversy online in favor of the Latvians, and people didn't like that they chose Elvis Merzlikins in this game, and people thought that they should have maybe chosen Artur Shilovs. And I don't know, Jakob, what do you think? Do you think putting Shilovs in that game changes the outcome?
No.
I
Truth
agree.
be told, no. I think Latvians stood no chance whether you put Shilas and whether you just because Shilas is having a great season with Pittsburgh does not translate to the Olympics. The Olympics is a whole different animal, and you're playing with different guys. You're playing with guys that probably you have only played with in country wise. You've never played with them in the NHL. So just because you're having one good year or a few good games in Pittsburgh does not translate to, you might have a good game. And Sweden killed them with Merzlink. Merzlinkins is, you could arguably say Merzlinkins is also having a good season with Columbus too. He hasn't,
Mm-hmm.
they've been on a win streak as of late, and he's been kind of part of the reason besides the new coach. And you
Mm-hmm.
know, Sweden would have killed them anyways. I don't think either goalie would have made a difference. I think the Latvian team is just the Swedish team is just too overpowered for the Latvians. I'm sorry to tell all the Latvians that, but the Swedish team is too overpowered for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you have a one roster on one hand with Sweden, who is all NHLers, and then the Latvians have a few guys that are NHLers. And mind you, not that their NHLers are bad, but they only have like five NHL guys, and most of them are third, fourth line guys in the NHL, where Sweden has top line NHL talent.
Exactly. So,
But yeah, are you ready to move on to the NHL starting goalies for today, Jakob?
well, the Olympics starting goalies, but yes, of course I'm ready.
Well,
And
yeah.
obviously, one game. Make sure that before we go, we do a quick refresh to see if any other goalies have been confirmed.
Ah, yes, I got you. Which we will see in a sec here. And nope, that is it.
All right, perfect. So go ahead and say the first game.
All right, so the game from this morning at 4:10 a.m. Mountain Time. That would be 6:10 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's oh damn, Germany and Slovakia. But yeah, you can say the
Now,
goalies, Jakob.
now it's excuse me, Philip Grubauer against Samuel Hlavage, which unfortunately we saw the end result, so we will say that all for tomorrow. But
And then we have Czechia facing off against Canada, and that game's probably like just started now. Jakob and I will definitely be tuning in post episode, and on that note, we probably won't have a super long, post talk because we want to go watch this game.
that is true. That is true. Yeah, we'll save all the post talk for tomorrow if when we do that episode tomorrow.
Yeah, but that game is at 8:40 a.m. Mountain Time, which it is currently 8:54 a.m. Mountain Time, and that will be 10:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And yeah,
I want Kyle to actually announce these goalies.
okay, well, we will see Lukas Dostal again for the Czechs, which I think that is the right pick, as you have Dan Vladar and Karel Vemelka as your other goalies, and the guy who seems to show up in all the big games, Jordan Binnington, and I love the pick.
Me too. Me too. And all right, we'll move on to the next game, which this one I will say the schedule. Kyle will say the starting goalies.
Okay.
It is because it is going to we're going to do back and forth because the Olympics is about to end, and I want Kyle to also join in on the fun and not just me. So
Mm-hmm.
this next game, which starts at 12:10 noon Eastern time and 10:10 Mountain time, AM Mountain time, it's going to be Switzerland against Finland.
And albeit both goaltenders are unconfirmed, but based off of recent performances, the Swiss are likely to dress Leonardo Giannoni, as he has been very good this tournament. And then for the Finns, it'll probably be UC Saros of the Nashville Predators.
All right.
And then
And moving
oh,
on to our last game, it's okay.
all right.
We're gonna see two red hot teams fight out to compete for a spot in the semifinals. We are going to see this, and this is going to be at 3:10 p.m. Eastern time, 1:10 p.m. Mountain time, and this is going to be Sweden versus the United States.
Mm. And this will, I mean, although albeit unconfirmed, it is looking like it'll be Jacob Markstrom, but I would not be surprised if they stray from Markstrom, considering they do have Wallstead and, Gustafsson too, but we will see. And then for the United States, I mean, in the big games, it has to be Connor Hellebuck. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I do want to mention something before we wrap it up today that I don't think it's gonna be Gustafsson because he has been struggling in these Olympics, and that kind of changed my view a little bit about the who has the better goalies. I think I'm gonna take it over to the. I have it's a weird feeling between the U.S. and Canadians. I still feel like one of the big teams have the better goalies, but I'm steering away from the Swedes as we've seen the recent performances of Gustafsson, and it hasn't been looking pretty. He's been allowing some goals on some questionable goals. So yeah. So there you have it, folks. We will go ahead quickly and do the picks of the day for the games that we still have remaining. I said Denmark was gonna win yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, which unfortunately that did not hit, and I said Matthew Bradley point, which unfortunately the Italians got shut out, so there was no points. And then Kyle said Latvia was gonna beat the Swedes and Texier point, which unfortunately that did not hit. So we both went 0 for 2 yesterday, but that is okay because today we are going to have a get back game, and I will let Kyle go first.
All right. Well, I think because I'm going to look at the schedule, and my apologies. I already, put the scores and stuff down. I already closed the stream, so it is what it is. But yeah, for like my prediction today, I'm going to predict. You know what, Jacob? I'm going to go with my proud, true country, and I'm going to predict the Canadians to win. I think, aside from women's, I think this is the first time that we've made a prediction on the Canadian game.
Yeah.
And then for my player pick, hmm, you know what? I think Timo Meyer is going to continue his excellent play, and I think we will see a Timo Meyer goal.
Okay, and on the other hand, I'm actually gonna be taking a bit of an upset. I don't, I don't know if it's an upset to some people, but I'm actually going to take the Swiss to beat Finland today. I think I watched the Swiss play yesterday, and I was very impressed by the way they have the team chemistry and all that. So I will be backing them up. And I'm actually on the other hand, I'm also gonna take a Swiss player. I'm gonna take a Nico Hischier goal.
Okay, I like it.
So there you have it, folks. I took the Swiss to win and a Nico Hischier goal, and Kyle took a Meyer point
I said
and
goal.
excuse me, goal and Canada to win. So there you have it, folks. Unless Kyle has nothing to say, let's wrap it up so we can go watch these Canadians play.
Yeah, and of course, like we said, we will have, a good old conversation for you guys next time around. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And oh wait, I think you did. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll wrap it up.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
wrap
care.
it up. You can do the intro and the outro. It's fine.
Yeah, at this point we're just trying to get it done. But yes, thank you all for listening to today's episode. I will make sure I'll probably be posting this, during intermission since obviously I want to go watch this game. But yeah, thank you for listening and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.
Peace out, everybody, and get ready for a conversation tomorrow. Peace.